Welcome back to all my change makers. It's always so much of a pleasure to be able to introduce you to other change makers who are just doing their best to be that positive change that the world needs to see. And today we're actually heading way outside of the US to my friend that I've been talking to for a number of years now, Mr. Mulumba. He is got a nonprofit called the Necessary Aid Alliance, and he comes to us from Ghana. Welcome, Mulumba. Will you please tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do and what makes you so amazing?
My name is Mulumba Songsore from Ghana. I've lived all my life in Ghana. I come from the northern part of Ghana, specifically the Upper West region. That is where I live and work. It's one of the most deprived areas in Ghana as a whole. In fact, northern part of Ghana is considered to be one of the most deprived areas in Ghana. But that is where I live and work. And I have a non-profit called Necessary Aid Alliance, which is a youth-led non-profit organization that I birthed as a result of my experiences growing up in a rural community and having the opportunity to gain formal education. I felt it was important to leverage on the knowledge I have gotten to give back to my community. Because what is the essence of my education? Growing up in a rural community, seeing people who are unable to get a chance to educate, seeing girls unable to gain education, seeing women live in abject poverty. What then will be the essence of my education if I'm unable to leverage on the knowledge I have gotten from the University for Development Studies as a developer to support my people? I believe all these things are things that pushed me to to conceptualize and set up a non-profit organization called Necessary Aid Alliance that I operate on 5 thematic areas: bridging education inequality gap, girl child empowerment, vulnerable group support, skills training for women. These are some of the key thematic areas that we operate as a non-profit organization in the northern part of Ghana. And I've been doing this for close to 6 years now. We are duly registered as a youth-led non-profit organization, and I just like supporting rural people because the smiles and then the success stories and then the little changes we see in the lives and hearts of people keep me going every day, even though the journey is rough and muddy. But I have a lot of prayers and support and goodwill from the many marginalized people who keep on praying that we get opportunity to support them. So this is who I am, and this is what I do.
Wow. Well, and if I remember correctly, you're still kind of on the younger side in age. I mean, what in the world? We don't see enough younger people stepping up. Are you willing to share how old you are?
Yes, I am 20. I'm now 28 years of age. And JF Kennedy said something profound. He said, a society whose young men and women are in a constant state of slumber will never realize our potentials. That is what JF Kennedy says. So I don't want to be in slumber. I want to rise up to realize my potentials. And this is the case. I'm not just realizing my potentials, but my nonprofit is giving me the opportunity to get resources to support other young people to realize their potentials, to support vulnerable groups to realize their potentials, to support marginalized women and persons living with disabilities to realize their potentials. That is who I am, and this is what I do.
It's amazing, amazing. You are a wonderful model for other young people to follow without a doubt. And I noticed on your banner behind you, you also talk about entrepreneurial pursuits. How important is that in your community?
Yes, in northern part of Ghana, one thing that have contributed to poverty, like I said, northern part of Ghana is made up of 5 regions, and one thing that have contributed to the perverse poverty, which has been established by government in northern part of Ghana, where I live and work, is the fact that we just have one pattern of rainfall in the whole year. So meaning it rains within 4 to 6 months, and when that is over, we have to bear the hot sun for 6 years, for 6 months.
Mm.
So it means that, but in the southern part of Ghana, it rains the whole year, so they are able to farm. And over here, we have 80% of the population are farmers, but we have just one pattern of what rainfall. So it starts to rain somewhere in April. So farming begins in May, June, July, August. By September, you have to do your harvesting. And when your harvesting is over, no rain comes till the next year, April. So whatever you make within the few months, you're expected to leverage on it for income. So if your farming don't go well with you, it will mean that you have problem feeding. You have a big problem feeding. And now the ravaging effects of climate change is affecting rainfall pattern and further causing marginalized poverty among people. So why, and this comes to your question, why entrepreneurial skills? So within the long period of dry season, we felt that it's important to give women skills, livelihood skills that they can leverage on for income generation. And some of the skills we train women in is how to produce soap, bar soap, liquid soap, shower gel. And these are things people use at home all the time. So if someone have the skill to produce what soap, when it's market day, weekly market day, you can produce soap and go to the market and sell. We train people how to weave, how to sew clothes, how to make donuts. And these are things, these are services people need all the time. So instead of relying on your farm produce, to be selling, normally what happens is that when it's a dry season period, the man will fetch a bowl of grain to the wife from the harvest to go and sell and get hard cash to be able to buy what? Food ingredients. If
Mhm.
their children are sick, if they need anything, they'll have to sell, they have to go into their barns and fetch the crops and go and sell to get hard cash. So it
Mhm.
means that you are reducing what? Your food stock, and it may run over. But why not give the women skills? Because we believe women are the backbone of the local economy. So when you empower a woman, you empower a whole community. So with the skills we give them, and skills exist without ceasing. If you know how to make soap, if you know how to weave, if you know how to sew, if you know how to make donuts or sweets, you can do it throughout the whole year.
Mhm.
So that is why we try to provide skills for women so that when they leverage on these skills, it's a lifelong skill. You don't have to over rely on your farm harvest. If your farm harvest don't go well, but the woman has a skill to be able to go and sell a product in the market to make money to support family needs. So it is because of this reasoning that we want to diversify the incomes of what people in northern part of Ghana, people living in this part of the country who are suffering from acute poverty as a result of one pattern of rainfall. Is because we want to what diversify their income from just farming, but to other what skills. That is why we birthed the entrepreneurial skills training to support women.
Awesome. I love that. I'm all about helping more people to learn entrepreneurial skills, and especially when you're able to get people into doing some kind of creation
Yeah,
process. Because
yeah,
I personally believe that if we were made in the image and likeness of a creator, we were born to create. And there's
yeah,
definitely a lot of good feelings that come from that creation process. And then being able, as you say, to be able to sell and
yeah,
get cold cash to be able
yeah.
to do whatever they need during those dry seasons. That's a beautiful thing. And I know that I've followed you online for a while now, and I know you get quite a number of awards from different places. You've been definitely awarded by very prominent and significant people who are recognizing the amazing work you're doing. Can you share with our viewers just an example of it? May be an individual that you were able to help, or maybe it was a community you were able to help. Give people a solid understanding about something that you've done that has really helped.
Yes, we've done quite a number of among this thematic. We have been existing for 5 years now, and we have been able to do a lot of transformative things for these number of years. We've birthed what we call Tizawa Nova Project, a project that sought to stop the stigmatization against persons living with disabilities. People in the rural communities see persons living with disabilities, and they think that you have been cursed from God. So some even kill their children once they realize that people they're living with disabilities. And for those they don't kill who are living, they subject them to trauma. So we have implemented a huge project on Tizawa Nova, which sought to provide education. Tizawa Nova means it's a local language from where I come from, which means we are all people. Regardless of your disability, you are people. And the goal of Desire was sought to what? End ableism, to ensure that persons living with disabilities are treated with dignity. So we impacted close to 50 no 20,000 people with our drama. We came out with a very good drama to advocate and let people understand that when you're having a disability does not mean you are cursed, but it's as a result of what? A biological process. It's medical and they are not cursed. So that's a huge project we have done. We have introduced what we call the Calendar for Change project, and the Calendar for Change project sought to get girls value in terms of education. If you go to most rural communities, once the young girl start developing breast, they give her out for child marriage and say, let's go and marry. So we sought to educate, people in the rural communities to let them know that look, a girl can become a lot of things. Some of them do it out of ignorance because they are in deprived communities and they don't see the potentials of women. I mean, they don't have formal facilities there. They just have the school blocks and maybe a small, what we call the chips facility. And the people that dominate these facilities are mostly males. So, it's the perception of the rural woman that look, I mean, a girl can go anywhere. So the best a woman can go is to get married. So they marry their daughters off for what? Money. So we introduced what we call the Calendar for Change, and this particular community project targeted several schools seeking to what? Change the perception of what people living in rural communities, to let them know that a girl's place is not in the kitchen. We have implemented the Skills Drive project that has provided over 5,000 skills training to women. Yes, across over 30 communities in my region. And we have supported young entrepreneurs with startup kits, to do quite a lot of work. And I agree. You said I've been awarded and all that. I started the youth-led organize as one of the young people to start and conceptualize the youth-led nonprofit. To that, I have received several local and international awards for the works I do, to my credit. And this even motivated me to go far to conduct a research, on my Master of Philosophy thesis work, which I worked all on on a huge publication, and my topic was youth-led contributions towards community development. And in doing that, my thematic areas were I researched on the contributions of youth-led organizations to community development. I worked on their challenges and then the prospects, and then I worked on the characterization of youth-led nonprofits. So that I can, be the mouthpiece to encourage all other young people who intend to set up nonprofit organizations to contribute to community development, so that stakeholders government bodies, international organizations, and platforms like yours will get to understand that young people who own non-profit organizations actually giving their all in all to support community development. So you should have the belief in a young person. Most often than not, we the older folks have this thoughts on gerontocracy. When I say gerontocracy, what do I mean? The thought that when you're a young person, you are ill experienced, you are violent, you are not to be trusted, you are not wise. We associate all these features on a young person. Therefore, I will not support this youth-led organization because this young person is having these features. But that is wrong. On the contrary, young people can be trusted. Young people, when given resources, put it into effective use. And what I do at Necessary Alliance is a testament to the fact that we have to support more young people with resources. You don't just donate to the international organizations, but trust and bank your resources with young people, and they will deliver.
Hmm. Well, there's definitely much to be said about that, but there's also the idea that there has to be a way to be able to vet these young people too, because not all of them are quite as ambitious as you are. And in this country, we have a much bigger problem with too many young people who want to sit and stare at this all day. And that is not what we need. I mean, I am a fan of your work because I believe that you are correct that we need more young people who are actively engaged and making a difference out here all over the world, because you guys have some new ideas. You're able to take a look at the landscape and see where those gaps in services are.
Yeah.
That's what I hear that you've been doing, is you've really been analyzing where the gaps are and doing everything in your power to be able to be somebody who's filling those gaps. And it's a beautiful thing, because I always hear you talk about how women and girls can be doing so much more than just being a housewife or in the kitchen. And I absolutely agree with that. That has been my philosophy all of my life. So you're doing very
Yeah.
wonderful things. And perhaps somewhere along the line, as you progress down the road, maybe that's where God calls you to, is doing more mentoring of some of these young people who have ideas that are worth investing in, because that is a necessary part of it all. When we talk about necessary aid, mentoring young people so that they can be able to move forward with new ideas, it's going to become more and more important as we go forward on planet Earth. So absolutely, I thank you for all the work that you're doing, Mulumba. I think it's amazing, and I know you're making a difference. I don't know where your next rounds of funding will come from. We're struggling with similar things in our nonprofit right now, where we're wanting to impact, stopping youth suicide, because that has become a big issue. So that's the gap that we're looking to fill. So we feel your heart. We understand what you're up to. Please let people know how they can get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your organization. Perhaps they have some kind of donation, whether it's in kind or cash, that they might want to be able to make to your organization. How can they reach you?
Yes. So thank you so very much. We would definitely be happy to get a lot more people out there willing to support the works we do. If because we are putting in our best to support our communities. So if you're attached to support the works we do, we have a website www.necessaryaigalliance.org. That is our website, and you can go there to donate. But I think we are having issues. Our country has issues with these PayPal systems, because of the fact that other young people have been abusing the platforms for internet scams, blah blah blah. So there's usually a challenge there. But we do have Western Union transfers, that you can reach out and then make a token donations, or they can even reach out to you to make any donations on behalf of our organization, and I'm pretty sure you can easily receive them on our behalf, because I've known you for close to 4 5 years now. And then it's easier for anyone who wants to support the works we do to reach out directly to you to make a contribution. And I'm pretty sure you will bulk it up and then send it to us. But my email is mulumba at necessaryaidalliance.org. And then I'm available on WhatsApp too, on +233 54944009. Our organization is on Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, Necessary Aid Alliance. You can always send us a DM, follow our work, and see what we do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you mentioned Western Union because that's always been one of my questions because I don't do a lot of transactions internationally. So I've struggled with that idea too. So I'm glad to know that is a way that funds can be transferred to you. We will keep that in mind. If anybody should ask us about ways to get funds to you, but whatever, I'm glad. And this video will be seen in our Facebook group, but it's also going to be seen on my YouTube channel. And so I will send you the links to both of those. And if you will just put your website and your WhatsApp and anything you want to put under that in the comments, please do, because that'll be another way to help people be able to find you and reach out to you. So that is good. So I am curious, do you have any amazing words of wisdom you'd like to leave people with today?
Yes, there's this profound quote by Robert Ingersoll. He says, "We rise by lifting others.
Mm.
We just rise by lifting others. The little you put out there to support a cause, believe me, it comes to you in a million folds. The creator of the universe is watching you, that you are supporting the new cause with the little you have. It shouldn't be much, but the little you have that you willingly give to support a cause, which is used to transform the lives of the vulnerable groups, the smiles and then the prayers and goodwill that the end beneficiary of your donation comes to support, brings a lot of blessings and a lot of gratitude to you. It's never too late to donate. It's never too late to support, because it's also being said, alone, I can do very little. What do I have alone to share? Just alone, I can easily break up. I can do very, very little. But imagine together, you watching, your relatives, your friends, your family, all of them coming together. Together, we definitely will do a lot more to support a lot more people across many vulnerable communities in northern Ghana and Ghana at large. We will create a thriving rural community, a community where pain will be turned to joy and where sorrow will be turned to happiness, where a lot of young girls will achieve their dreams and become whoever they want to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mulumba. Your words are very wise. Your wisdom goes far beyond your years. So we are grateful for the work you do. We're grateful for the people you're helping. And I encourage people to reach out. That's one of the things in this Facebook group. We are encouraging people to find ways to collaborate. So there's over 2,100 people in this group. You never know who might be touched by your message. So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. And I thank you to all of our change makers out here for listening and getting to know my friend Mulumba. His work is valid for sure. And we need to encourage more young people like him to be out here and be the miracles that we're looking for, because that's the fact of it all. Is, I don't think the good Lord wants us to all just sit and wait for him to do everything. We're his hands and feet. Let's be those miracles. So thank you all, and thank you, Mulumba, and we'll see you all in the next interview. Have an
Thank
amazing
you.
day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate.